Hey there, welcome back for another of our videos day by day through Holy Week, tracing the footsteps of Jesus as he continues through this very eventful, momentous week. Uh, Hope you've seen the videos for the last couple of days. Today we continue on with Monday. The Monday of Holy Week is a very eventful time. I remember at the end of Palm Sunday, he went back out of Jerusalem to Bethany and spent the night there. The Gospels have quite a bit to say about what happened on Monday and Tuesday of Holy Week. Monday in particular seems to have been a very busy day. As he came into the city, he saw with his disciples, it says he saw a fig tree that was bearing no fruit, and he cursed it, made it wither away from the roots. I'm not going to get into the meaning of that today. There's a lot of different theories as to what the theological importance of that is. Some very interesting ones, and maybe we'll revisit that at another point. But as he comes into Jerusalem, he goes up into the temple, into one of the courtyards in the temple. Probably it's under the there's sort of an awning area or a covered colonnade area around the edge of the outer courtyard, and probably this is where these events take place. That was an area not only for gathering to worship in the temple, but gathering for for teaching, to hear rabbis talk and things like that. So when it says he's in the temple, he's not in the sanctuary itself. He's not in the holy place or the Holy of Holies or anything like that. He's in this large courtyard that takes up what is today most of the Temple Mount. This large open space, and this is where he meets all these people and teaches and talks to the disciples. So during this day, he goes. Says a lot of things that are very familiar to us, and we may not realize they happened during Holy Week. He's challenged by the priests and the Pharisees and so forth, and has some answers to them. He tells a number of parables. One is the parable of the vineyard and the tenants. The owner of the vineyard who has tenants in it to care for it, and eventually they kill his messengers and eventually kill his son. This is when he encounters the excuse me, encounters the widow putting her offering in, the famous widow's mite. He teaches the Sadducees about the resurrection. He's challenged by some of the Pharisees who are trying to trap him about paying taxes to the Romans. This is when the render to Caesar what is Caesar's, render to God what is God's comes from. This is when he also confronts a group of the Sadducees who ask him about the greatest commandment, the greatest part of the law, and he tells them again what we call the greatest commandment. Love God with all your soul and all your heart and all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. He pronounces a number of woes on the scribes and Pharisees. Some of the most harsh words that Jesus really has throughout the Gospels. He calls them blind guides, and the whitewashed tombs full of dead men's bones and things like that. So he has some very strong words for them. There is a lot going on Monday, but it seems like for the most part he spent the whole day in the temple, in that courtyard, teaching, having conversations with people, being questioned, and trying to answer some of the challenges that they pose to him. And one of the themes of these has to do with believing Jesus, believing that he is who he says he is, not rejecting him, and this distinction between outward faith and genuine inward faith. These are two of the common threads here. So as the week continues, he does much of the same thing, but again, it's worth reading through. Mark chapter 11 covers some of these events. Matthew chapter 21, I believe, covers some of these events. So there, each of the four Gospels has a different emphasis at different points throughout Holy Week. But there's so much going on, so many of these things that that take place. It's worth looking over those again and hearing the words of Jesus once again. So we continue tracing our Lord's footsteps tomorrow as we come into the Tuesday of Holy Week. All right, talk to y'all later.